Every decade has a machine that redefines what progress looks like. Not through noise or excess, but through quiet conviction. Some cars shout for attention, others whisper, and those whispers reshape entire generations of design. This is the kind of story that belongs to innovators who refuse to settle, who find beauty not just in power, but in precision and grace. It is about understanding how a single idea can evolve from audacity to refinement, from revolution to everyday perfection. Beneath its understated lines lies an argument about what it means to move forward, to adapt without surrendering identity. Engineers often say that restraint is harder than excess, that true innovation isn't about adding more, but about doing more with less. This philosophy became the defining trait of one of France's most fascinating automotive icons. Because sometimes, evolution isn't about chasing the next radical leap, it's about mastering the balance between vision and realism. If that kind of quiet brilliance interests you, hit like, subscribe, and tell us which classic machine you'd like to explore next. The Citroen DS20 970 arrived at a time when France's automotive confidence was both at its peak and under pressure. The world had already seen the radical DS19 of the mid-1950s, the car that made other manufacturers question what the future of driving should feel like. But by 1970, the world had changed. The space-age optimism that birthed the original DS had matured into something more grounded. Efficiency mattered as much as elegance, and consumers had begun to weigh comfort against cost. The Citroen DS20 stood at the intersection of these shifting priorities. It represented the most measured form of the DS lineage, a model that balanced luxury with logic and innovation with accessibility. To appreciate its place in history, we have to rewind to Citroen's daring philosophy of the 1950s. The DS wasn't just a car, it was a public statement. Its hydropneumatic suspension promised a floating ride unlike anything else on the road. Its bodywork, crafted with aerodynamic insight far ahead of its time, seemed to come from another planet. When it debuted in 1955, the DS caused such a sensation that thousands of buyers placed deposits on the first day alone. It wasn't only a technological triumph, it was a cultural event. Yet, by the late 1960s, that futuristic image needed refinement. The French economy was recovering, but competition was fierce. Other manufacturers had begun catching up in comfort, and reliability was no longer optional. Citroën faced a new question: how to preserve its avant-garde spirit without alienating a broader audience. The answer came in the form of the DS20. With a 2.0-liter inline-4 engine producing around 100 horsepower, it wasn't built for speed records, but for balance. The DS20 offered enough power to glide through highways while maintaining the smooth, confident ride that defined the DS family. It wasn't about shock value anymore. It was about demonstrating mastery of a concept Citroën had invented 15 years earlier. The hydropneumatic suspension remained the heart of the experience. Instead of traditional springs, the DS20 used spheres filled with nitrogen gas and hydraulic fluid, creating a self-leveling system that could adapt to load and terrain in real time. The result was a ride quality that journalists still describe as otherworldly. Drivers could glide over rough pavement as if floating, while the system automatically adjusted to keep the car perfectly level. It was elegant, effective, and distinctly Citroën. But the DS20 also marked the brand's growing awareness that technical brilliance alone wouldn't guarantee long-term success. It introduced refinements in usability, better lighting systems, more accessible maintenance procedures, and a slightly simplified control layout. While the DS19 had been a symbol of unrestrained experimentation, the DS20 represented discipline. It carried the same ideals, but with an understanding that innovation must eventually meet practicality. In styling, the DS20 maintained the sweeping lines and tapered rear that made the DS family unmistakable. Yet subtle details revealed its evolution. Chrome trim became more restrained, proportions slightly adjusted, and interior appointments refined to match contemporary tastes. The dashboard layout emphasized function, and while still unmistakably French in flair, it felt more approachable. Even in the choice of materials, Citroën conveyed quiet confidence rather than extravagance. This approach reflected broader social changes in France at the dawn of the 1970s. The exuberant consumerism of the post-war boom was giving way to pragmatism. The DS20 mirrored that cultural mood perfectly. Still futuristic, but mature. Driving one wasn't a statement of rebellion anymore. It was a declaration of taste. The DS20 owner appreciated engineering nuance and design intelligence without needing to announce it loudly. Beneath its calm exterior, though, the same mechanical audacity remained. The semi-automatic gearbox, operated through a hydraulic clutch system, allowed smooth shifts without a traditional clutch pedal. The steering was light yet precise, powered hydraulically to enhance control. Braking used a pressure-sensitive button instead of a pedal. A design that took time to master, but offered remarkable modulation once understood. Everything in the DS20 reminded the driver that this was not a conventional machine. It was the product of engineers who thought differently about every single function. What set the Citroen DS20 apart from nearly all of its contemporaries was how seamlessly these innovations worked together. Nothing felt gratuitous. Every feature served a purpose within a coherent philosophy: to make motion effortless. The result was a driving experience that combined mechanical sophistication with emotional serenity. Even decades later, owners describe a sensation of calm when behind the wheel. The car didn't just transport you. It insulated you from chaos. And in the 1970s, that sense of composure was a rare luxury. Yet for all its brilliance, the DS20 was not without challenges. Citroen's complexity made maintenance demanding. Mechanics unfamiliar with the hydropneumatic system often found it intimidating, leading to misunderstandings about reliability. Some drivers longed for more straightforward simplicity offered by other manufacturers. Citroen's choice to prioritize refinement over raw performance also divided opinions among enthusiasts. But these criticisms underscored a deeper truth. The DS20 wasn't chasing trends. It was charting its own course. Its purpose wasn't to compete on conventional terms, but to perfect a unique idea of comfort and control. For Citroen, the DS20 represented the maturing of an icon. It was no longer about shocking the world with futuristic lines. It was about showing that such vision could evolve into something timeless. Each journey in a DS20 felt like an event, not because of speed or power, but because of the serenity it delivered. That was its genius. As the 1970s unfolded, this model quietly demonstrated that progress sometimes means refining rather than reinventing, focusing not on louder claims but on quieter excellence. The Citroen DS20 1970 embodied this mindset completely, proving that restraint could be just as radical as revolution. The Citroen DS20 1970 did not exist in isolation. It was part of a carefully balanced product lineup that reflected Citroen's response to an evolving marketplace. By this point, the DS family had been in production for over 15 years, and while its reputation for sophistication was well established, the economic realities of maintaining such a complex vehicle line were becoming difficult. The DS20 was positioned as the accessible yet refined variant, sitting below the more powerful DS21 and DS23 models. Its role was to deliver the essence of the DS experience to a wider range of customers, while ensuring that the engineering innovations still felt exceptional. Underneath, the hydropneumatic system remained its defining feature. Each sphere acted as both a spring and a damper, its internal pressure regulating ride height and comfort automatically. The effect was transformative on European roads that were often uneven or poorly surfaced. What set the DS20 apart from competitors was its ability to maintain composure under conditions that would unsettle almost any other car. Even today, when driven on modern asphalt, the system retains a magical quality that no conventional suspension can replicate. Yet that comfort was not only physical. It had a psychological element. The DS20's smoothness created a sense of calm that extended to its design language. The car's shape, drawn by Flaminio Bertoni and refined by Robert Apron, communicated motion even at rest. The tapering roofline, the fender-enclosed rear wheels, and the flowing silhouette all contributed to a sense of organic unity. When the DS20 replaced the earlier DS19, Citroën took great care not to disturb that harmony. Instead of introducing drastic styling changes, engineers and designers worked to make the car's visual character more aligned with the subtle aesthetic trends of the early 1970s. That decision reflected a growing confidence. The DS no longer needed to shout its difference. It could afford to be understated. Mechanically, the DS20's 1985 cubic centimeters engine was not an afterthought. It was tuned for reliability and refinement rather than outright speed. With twin-barrel carburation and a well-balanced torque curve, it provided a seamless flow of power that matched the car's character. The gearbox, operated through a hydraulic system that automated clutch engagement, was a defining element of the driving experience. It allowed effortless transitions between gears, emphasizing the idea that the DS20 was not about exertion but ease. It made city driving relaxed, and highway cruising serene. Fuel economy, always a concern for European drivers, improved over earlier DS versions due to careful carburetor calibration and weight optimization. The Citroen DS20 1970 therefore marked a phase in which engineering efficiency and driving grace merged. In the broader context, this car existed during a moment of shifting cultural ideals. The early 1970s introduced new questions about sustainability, resource use, and the role of technology in everyday life. The DS20 seemed to anticipate those discussions. Its design spoke of moderation without abandoning aspiration. It showed that technical excellence could coexist with restraint. This sensibility resonated particularly with the professional middle class of France and Europe at large. For many, owning a DS20 was not a display of wealth but a statement of discernment. It expressed appreciation for design intelligence, national pride, and understated modernity. Inside the cabin, this philosophy continued. Citroën had always treated the driver's environment as a laboratory of ergonomics, and the DS20 reflected the culmination of that thinking. The single-spoke steering wheel improved visibility of the instrument panel. The dashboard layout emphasized clean lines and functional clarity. Controls were logically placed, though their unique design, such as the pressure-sensitive brake button, reminded the driver that this was a distinctly Citroën experience. Seats were deep and supportive, trimmed in materials that balanced durability with tactile comfort. Noise insulation had improved noticeably from earlier DS models, making the DS20 more suitable for long-distance touring. The lighting system, particularly the directional headlights that swiveled with steering input, became one of the car's most admired features. It was a tangible example of how Citroën's engineers sought to anticipate driver needs before drivers themselves recognized them. On a winding rural road at night, the effect was both practical and mesmerizing. It reflected the company's ongoing obsession with safety through innovation, achieved not by restraint systems or electronics but by intelligent mechanical design. As a result, the DS20 maintained its reputation as one of the most confidence-inspiring vehicles of its time. For all its forward-thinking features, the DS20 also represented a turning point in Citroën's internal culture. The financial challenges of maintaining such advanced engineering were mounting. The cost of producing each hydropneumatic system, combined with the bespoke assembly methods, placed strain on profitability. Yet Citroën continued to prioritize innovation over short-term savings. This philosophy won admiration from engineers across the world, but worried corporate analysts. The DS20, in this sense, was a microcosm of Citroën's larger identity crisis. It showed both the brilliance and the vulnerability of a company that valued artistry as much as business logic. Still, for the customers who drove them, the DS20's uniqueness justified everything. Few cars in the early 1970s could match its ability to combine elegance, comfort, and poise without resorting to overt luxury. It offered sophistication without arrogance, technology without coldness. Even its imperfections contributed to its charm. Operating the hydraulic controls demanded a learning curve. Understanding its quirks required patience. But once mastered, it rewarded the driver with an intimacy rarely found in conventional cars. The experience was almost cinematic. The car would rise gently as the engine came alive, the suspension adjusting itself until it reached the perfect stance. It was a ritual that reinforced the sense that this was more than transport. It was mechanical theater. Every drive in the Citroën DS20 1970 became a dialogue between innovation and restraint, between the vision that defined the DS's birth and the maturity that ensured its longevity. In an era when most cars were designed to be replaced quickly, the DS20 was engineered to be experienced deeply. It invited reflection, and in doing so, it transcended the category of mere vehicle. It became a cultural artifact of French modernism, and its influence would quietly ripple across automotive design for decades. The Citroën DS20 1970 was not just a refinement of earlier DS models. It was also a symbol of transition for Citroen and for the automotive world entering the 1970s. The brand's engineers had built their reputation on bold ideas executed with precision. But by the dawn of this decade, the challenge had shifted from invention to survival. The oil crisis was still on the horizon, yet the warning signs were there. Consumers were becoming more cost-conscious, governments were beginning to tighten regulations, and the appetite for radical design was giving way to practicality. In this environment, the DS20 stood as a quiet reassurance that innovation could still have a human touch. It was the final major iteration of the DS platform before Citroen's financial and corporate world changed irreversibly. The 1970 model symbolized maturity, the point where avant-garde vision met economic reality without losing its soul. Every element of the car, from its supple ride to its measured power delivery, conveyed the same principle: confidence without excess. The Citroen DS20 1970 continued to demonstrate how the Hydropneumatic system could adapt to daily use. What began in the 1950s as a radical experiment in suspension had become, by 1970, a masterclass in refinement. The system automatically maintained ride height regardless of load, keeping the car level whether carrying passengers, luggage, or driving solo. In motion, the transition over imperfections remained uncanny. Smooth enough that passengers could read newspapers or hold a conversation undisturbed. This quiet stability symbolized French engineering philosophy at its best: sophisticated, rational, and beautifully eccentric. Mechanically, the 2.0-liter engine reached a new level of reliability thanks to improved materials and tighter production tolerances. The DS20 used a 5-bearing crankshaft for smoother operation, and advances in fuel mixture control reduced emissions while maintaining drivability. The gearbox, whether semi-automatic or manual, remained one of the car's most distinctive features. Instead of prioritizing rapid shifts, it delivered fluid transitions that suited the DS20's character. On long journeys, the car seemed to anticipate the driver's rhythm. There was a harmony between human and machine that few cars before or since have captured. Citroen's design department had by this time learned that subtlety could have more power than spectacle. The exterior changes of the DS20 1970 were minimal but meaningful. Slightly revised bumpers, improved lighting elements, and refined wheel designs modernized its appearance without altering its identity. This restraint reflected Citroen's growing confidence that timeless design could outlast fashion. In the same way that a fine watch evolves quietly over decades, the DS20 matured gracefully, letting its engineering speak louder than marketing slogans. Inside, this calm sophistication continued. The cabin's sweeping dashboard and single-spoke steering wheel created a sense of space, while the materials and detailing reflected understated craftsmanship. Every component, from the toggle switches to the ventilation controls, followed Citroen's obsession with functional artistry. The seats, designed to mimic the support of living room furniture, transformed long drives into effortless experiences. This focus on comfort was not indulgent, it was intellectual. Citroen believed that comfort was a form of safety, reducing driver fatigue and encouraging calmness at the wheel. In this sense, the DS20 was as much about psychology as mechanics. The car created an environment where stress simply didn't belong. The cultural context of the Citroen DS20 1970 added another layer to its significance. France in the early 1970s was redefining its identity. The optimism of post-war reconstruction had matured into confidence tempered by realism. Citizens wanted symbols of progress that were intelligent, not ostentatious. The DS20 fit that mood perfectly. It embodied national pride without arrogance. It wasn't a sports car, yet it commanded admiration through intellect and innovation. Its very existence challenged the idea that luxury had to be loud or that engineering excellence required brute force. The DS20 represented refinement as an act of philosophy. For Citroën, it was also a bridge between eras. Within a few years, the company would face severe financial turbulence that led to corporate restructuring and new partnerships. The DS line would soon give way to the CX, a car designed to carry forward the DS's spirit in a changing economic world. But in the DS20, one can sense the last pure moment of the original Citroën dream. A car built without compromise to financial fashion, shaped entirely by belief in progress through intelligence. The DS20's influence extended beyond its own production years. Many of its ideas, self-leveling suspension, aerodynamic optimization, and driver-centered design would inspire future generations of engineers. Even manufacturers far removed from France would study Citroen's innovations to understand how comfort and control could coexist. In that sense, the DS20's legacy outgrew its production run. It became a reference point for how technology could serve emotion rather than dominate it. Collectors today still speak of the DS20 with a kind of reverence. They appreciate it not just for its beauty, but for its coherence. Every aspect of the car serves a unified purpose: to make travel feel effortless, natural, and dignified. When you drive one, even now, there's a moment as the suspension lifts that feels ceremonial. A signal that something extraordinary is about to happen. That ritual, repeated thousands of times over decades, has turned the DS20 into something greater than a classic car. It is a living demonstration of how engineering and artistry, when guided by restraint, can create lasting harmony. The Citroen DS20 1970 stands as proof that progress doesn't always roar forward. Sometimes, it glides, gracefully, silently, and with unshakable confidence. The Citroen DS20 1970 remains one of the finest examples of how engineering maturity can become an art form. It took everything that had made the DS a cultural and mechanical phenomenon and refined it until every gesture felt deliberate. This car did not aim to impress through aggression or speed. Its achievement lay in grace, consistency, and the feeling of calm control. That calmness became its language. In the DS20, Citroën proved that the future did not need to be loud or intimidating. It could be soft-spoken yet confident, practical yet poetic. Looking back, the DS20 also represents the last full chapter of an unbroken philosophy. The original DS19 had been a thunderbolt of innovation, but the DS20 distilled those ideas into something more approachable, more human. It showed how revolutionary design could evolve into everyday brilliance. This evolution makes the DS20 a mirror of its time. France in 1970 was embracing modernity while negotiating tradition, just as Citroën was refining its most iconic car without erasing its soul. When viewed today, the Citroën DS20 1970 feels prophetic. Many of the design principles it embodied, efficiency, aerodynamics, comfort, and safety through intelligence, define the modern automotive landscape. Citroen's Hydropneumatic system anticipated today's adaptive suspensions. Its driver-focused layout prefigured ergonomic thinking that now seems obvious. Even its restrained visual style predicted an era when form would follow function with elegance rather than excess. Yet the DS20's influence goes beyond technical legacy. It reminds us that engineering, at its best, is an emotional pursuit. The car's designers were not building statistics. They were crafting sensations. They believed that motion could have meaning, that a journey could be as rewarding as the destination. This belief is what continues to make the DS20 relevant long after production ended. The Citroën DS20 1970 also teaches a lesson about balance. Citroën's brilliance was both its strength and its vulnerability. The same commitment to innovation that produced the DS line also strained the company's finances, eventually forcing compromises and partnerships. But through that tension came art. The DS20 captures the moment before that balance tipped, a snapshot of purity before pragmatism took control. Its quiet composure still speaks to designers, engineers, and drivers who see cars not just as machines but as expressions of thought. To sit inside a DS20 today is to experience a kind of time travel. The world outside may have changed, but the sensations remain intact. The slow, deliberate rise of the suspension, the lightness of the steering, the tranquil hum of the engine. These details communicate something timeless about the way humans interact with technology. It is not about dominance or dependence. It is about partnership. The Citroën DS20 1970 achieves that partnership better than almost any car before or since. Its restraint became its strength, its subtlety its statement. And in the decades since, its influence has only grown, quietly shaping the vocabulary of comfort, design, and engineering elegance across the industry. For anyone who values innovation tempered by humility, the DS20 stands as a lasting example of what thoughtful progress can look like. It is not merely a relic of the past but a guidepost for the future. Proof that great ideas never truly age, they just find new ways to glide forward.